What had been a bright and carefree summer afternoon had swiftly taken a turn for the worse. The news of Donald's accident spread like wildfire, and the engines were quite shaken up. That being said, not everyone knew the extent of Donald's injuries, and those who could arrived at the shunting yard for the Fat Controller's important announcement. To his disdain, Gordon had arrived a little earlier than expected.
I can't say I come here very often, which is not to say I'm particularly ecstatic about that.
Can't say why not. A lot of friendly faces here. You here to hold some trucks for once, Gordon?
Certainly not. This is supposedly the new ideal meeting place. The Fat Controller will be arriving shortly to give us all the details regarding Donald's extended absence.
Well, it beats meetings at Tivmer's sheds any day. It seems every time there's an announcement to be made, someone insists on standing on me and shouting.
Oh, it's nothing to be ashamed of, Duck. It should be an honour, really. You're just an easier engine to stand on because you're more... level?
What? Beg pardon? But what is that supposed to mean?
Let's just say you've always been a lot more of a square than the rest of us.
Well, with all due respect, I'm a pannier, not a podium.
Oh, really? I'm sure you'd be much less of a waste of space serving as the latter.
You! What are you doing here?
Why do you sound so alarmed, Great Winston? Wasn't everyone invited to this little gathering? Ha ha ha! Figures one of the bloody immigrants would fall over the mountainside. Good riddance. Now enlighten me. Which one was it anyway? Oh, and don't spare me the damage that was done. I'd be delighted to hear every
Diesel!
Goodness gracious me! What a vile thing to say! Completely out of line!
What's that about immigrants? Keep up that ruthless slander, and you'll be seeing more stars than a star-spangled banner.
Yeah! America!
I'd like to see you try, but in all seriousness, what I don't understand is why when an engine like Derek gets into a dreadful accident, everyone carries on like it's just business as usual. But when one of the twins falls over a mountainside, time stops, and everyone hardly knows what to do with themselves.
Donald and Douglas are indispensable, Diesel. They hold this railway together and handle all the odd jobs without fuss. Losing one of them would be quite a burden to bear for all of us.
I concur.
It's just like what we've been saying all along. This railway always picks favourites, whether you lot have the decency to believe it or not. We Diesels have always been superior in every regard, and it's about time we got the respect we deserve. Revolutionary is an understatement. We are the future. You are nothing.
Enough of your conspiracies and delusions. Derek's accident was not as serious, and you know it. And all this talk about you being thingamagummy.
Revolutionary? Is it really that hard to say it? Pathetic. Poor little Pania. Can hardly pronounce his words, let alone be of any use.
Don't mock me.
All right, enough! For goodness sake, a dear friend of ours is in terrible shape, and the only thing I hear echoing through the yard is this mindless squabbling. Honestly.
Really? You're ancient, out of date, and all I've seen you do around here is cry over spilled milk. You're pathetic, a waste of space.
I know we all have our differences, and in times of stress we've acted out of character, but we are a family, and we should start acting like one. You have no idea what I go through trying to keep all of you from practically mauling each other.
Oh, I thought you were the only engine that could keep Bill and Ben in order. Oh, wow. You seem to be doing an outstanding job of that.
I've been cleaning up after the messes you've caused for as long as I can remember. In fact, no, I've been cleaning up after everyone's messes for as long as I can remember, and it nearly drives me mad each and every time. And I've dealt with them already. They've received their punishment.
I'm sure some stern words from kind old Edward really put them in their place.
Are you kidding me right now, Gordon? You know, I'd appreciate it if you'd back me up once in a while.
I'm afraid I agree with Diesel on that point, my dear Edward. Everyone says you're the only one who can keep Bill and Ben in order, but they are out of control. Why are we here arguing when they're the real culprit here? Those two almost pushed me into the sea and left me to rust.
Oh, quit your boiler aching. That was ages ago. They were only joking, for goodness sake.
If there's no real harm in them, Edward, then would you care to elaborate on Donald's current circumstances? I'm afraid I'm not completely up to date. Go on, do tell.
Oh,
I thought so. You know what? I guess I'll just have to miss out on this delightful little entourage. Let me know how it goes.
I admit even Devious Diesel himself did have a point buried somewhere in all that maliciousness. There's good in him somewhere, I assure you.
You say that about everyone, Edward. Even the worst of the lot.
And it doesn't make me wrong, does it?
I guess all we have left to do now is wait for the Fat Controller.
It's just standard procedure. The Fat Controller will mosey on over in his car.
We're on Winston screeching to a halt and nearly bashing into something.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry I'm late.
He came in rather smoothly this time.
Oh, well, look who it is. It's Richard. And it looks like young Winston is the only one looking more flustered than he is.
Haha, surprised by the graceful entry. Feeling all right?
I spend most of my day praying I don't run into anything. Besides that, I'm usually pretty chipper.
I'm sorry, but who the heck is this guy?
Richard Hatt, the Fat Controller's eldest son.
Man, what is he doing here? Where's the Fat Controller?
I'm afraid I don't quite know where to begin, but I know this is a transition we'll all have to face someday, so here it goes. Do you mind if I look at my notes?
Take your time, Richard. You've written such wonderful articles about us in those magazines you write for, so if it helps you get your thoughts together, we understand completely.
Thank you, Edward. I think I have them on my phone, actually. Okay, here they are. My father, for many years, has given no hint of retiring after a very long term as the Northwestern Railway's controller. However, due to recent events, he has been conversing with my siblings and I much more frequently about the passing of the torch, so to speak. He's currently dealing with important matters with the Ministry of Defense, so he asked me to give you an update about Donald and Douglas's extended absence.
Donald and Douglas, sir? I thought Donald had the accident.
Victor, Kevin, and the workmen are taking good care of Donald at the works. However, we're missing some of Donald's specifications and papers, no doubt lost with his number when he traveled here in the 60s. We're using Douglas as a reference while we are mending Donald, and decided to give him an overhaul as well, two birds with one stone.
So, you're saying both of the twins will be out of commission?
Temporarily, but yes, that is correct.
Did the Fat Controller come to this decision?
Well, no. He asked for my opinion and was kind enough to act on my judgment. Consider this my first executive decision for the railway.
A new controller? I never thought the day would come.
If it's any consolation to the younger engines, having seen a fair few of Fat Controllers in my day, their mannerisms all seem to blend together over time. It's something we all get used to, and Richard, I'm sure we are all as excited as ever to see your appointment as the next.
Hold it. Okay, sure, we've all seen a few Fat Controllers during our time here, but this guy is no Fat Controller. Not yet, anyhow. He can't just mosey on in here and make decisions that affect all of us.
I agree. I don't see how I could ever call him a Fat Controller when he's as skinny as a rail.
Well, maybe he's got a corset.
Enough. I may not hold my father's position just yet, but I'll have you know I care very much about all of you and want what's best for this railway. One day someone is going to have to pick up where my father left off, and you know what? I promise you, the next generation will serve you well. And before you think I came here bearing only bad news, think again. The railway has recently appointed Mr. Gregory Larson as the new chief engineer of Croven's Gateworks. I know that this transition will be difficult for a lot of you, but if there's a place where I can't make things feel like the way they used to be, you'll all know you're in good hands regardless.
Yes, sir.
Of course.
And as you all know, Donald and Douglas's absence will mean that you'll all have to rise to the occasion and make the best of the bad situation. In the meantime, my father promised to look into the possibility of finding another engine to help down the pike. Until next time, I bid thee farewell.
Quite a speech.
Very, very well said.
We've all dealt with worse, so I'm sure we can all pluck up the courage necessary to work through this stressful time.
Mr. Larson's appointment is also a spectacular development. You'll find that a lot of engines run on Sodor thanks to his expertise. He was one of the specialists that had me converted to run on these rails. I would have been scrapped back on the PRR if it wasn't for him. That guy can fix anything.
And bring life to the lifeless in so many respects. A second chance to many who thought they'd never have another.
I'm being cautiously optimistic.
Well, my dear Gordon, it's all we can be.
I don't know what you're on about, but this scrapyard has been cleared for years. There's nothing salvageable here to work with.
Ah, we knew that, you idiot. We're meeting a contact here.
What did you expect to find anyway? Everything that was ever left here has been torn to pieces and melted down.
Get up! Don't accept one, my fine fellow!
And there's our contact.
Mr. Larson and, Paul, it is truly a pleasure to see you. I'll have you know that during my travels I've managed to see many extraordinary places and engines. When I came to Barry Island all those years ago, I made sure that one engine would be held for safekeeping, so that one day he would receive the, second chance he never got. This will certainly be a surprise!
When will we get to see him?
Soon, my friend. Very soon indeed.